I'm unclear what form this should take. Theatrically speaking, I'm unable to fall back on design or devices, nor do I want to, because the fact is, this is not a performance. It's my life. More specifically, it's my mum's life. She has stage 4 terminal cancer that began in the bile duct, then moved to the gallbladder, and then entered the tissues surrounding her liver and her bowel. And secondary cancer has now formed throughout the entire peritoneal cavity. Perhaps a little music. I'm not here to enact grief or memory or embody anything in particular. I'm simply here to exist as you all bear witness. Although, I don't like the inherent separation implied there. So perhaps we can just think of this as a conversation. But I'll be doing most of the talking. There's also a high possibility that I might cry for the duration of the entire piece, which could be very cathartic for me, but perhaps not terribly good entertainment or value for money for any of you. Tessa, where on earth are we up to? It does. It feels important that this is a shared experience. Something that is of this room, of this specific moment in time. An intimate, communal encounter. An exchange. I'll tell some stories, share some anecdotes, maybe sing a song or two. And my hope is that you'll be able to connect, reflect, and feel united. This is a wake. An awake. A living eulogy. The vision, I should say, is for this to be a celebration of life. Some of you may know my mum and others may not. But it doesn't really matter because we all know on a molecular level the concept of mum. We all know where that notion lives in our bodies. We've all known a mother figure of sorts, be it a biological, adopted, a foster mum, a grandmother, an aunt, an older sister, even a father or a friend. So whoever that is for you, I hope something resonates here tonight. I'm also conscious that not all mother-child relationships are the same. Some are fractious, fraught, complex, and in some cases completely non-existent. Sorry? Good point. Another point of resonance is cancer. We've all been touched by it. A sad truth. And we've all been touched by grief. So I just ask that you sit with me in mine, and if I need to take a moment at any point, you know. Grief is so fluid, it's so mercurial. Try as we might to allocate time, whittle out a window during which to grieve, like it can be scheduled in, like it won't come in waves or hit us in the most unexpected moments. We simply can't confine it in that way. Because the thing is, grief begins long before the person has passed. It is, in fact, just an extension of love, right? It's all that love that you want to give but cannot. All that unspent love, it gathers up in the corners of our eyes, in that lump in our throats, and in that hollow part of our chests. Grief is just love with no place to go. They're not my words. I wish I could say they were. I think we begin with the girl. Long-limbed and lean, with a shock of red hair, her pale skin fair with a smattering of freckles, beautiful blue eyes, and the purest heart. Mum grew up in a tent on the Woronora River in New South Wales, the youngest of 13 children. They didn't have television then, so procreation was entertainment. From a very early age, Mum developed a habit of bringing stray dogs home. Some would stay a short time and continue on with their travels, and others would hang around a little bit longer, and some would run away on arrival, completely uninterested in being tied down by family life. But the pup who truly won Mum's heart was a dog called Teddy. Upon laying eyes on him, my grandmother said, "If this one eats Weet-Bix, he can stay." So, with some gentle coaxing from Mum, Teddy ate the Weet-Bix and became a bona fide member of the family. This compassion for strays, for creatures or people who were down on their luck, it was instinctive for Mum. She was genetically predisposed to help. This quality was embodied and demonstrated by my grandmother, who was always taking people in, anyone in need, social outcasts, people with mental health issues, outsiders within society. And sometimes they were just folks who needed a little loving kindness. They once took in a young pregnant woman, housing and feeding her until she was due to give birth, with my grandmother organising her medical care. No expectation of anything in return. Despite the fact that they didn't have much, we've established the tent on the river and the 13 children, my grandmother was always making meals for people. Mum recalls walking a mile at a time to deliver food to hungry individuals or families. This kind of generosity, it's something that's etched into my memories. Driving around and dropping off food to people. It's a tradition that Mum carried on with us, her own kids. I've heard there was a secret chord David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? And it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof her beauty and the moonlight overthrew ya. She tied you to her kitchen chair, broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 Baby, I've been here before. I know this room and I've walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 There was a time when you let me know what's really going on below, but now you never show it to me, do ya? Remember when I moved in you, the holy dove was moving too, and every breath we drew was hallelujah. 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 Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot someone who outdrew you. It's not a cry that you hear at night, not someone who's just seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 That song was Mum's request, so. Mum's first job was an office junior in Sydney, which was followed by a move into nursing at the age of 15. You know, that pull that we all get for a major career change at the age of 15. It was that. She was married at 20 and had 4 children, of which I'm the youngest. She has always been the quintessential mum. Universally loved, adored by all of my friends. She is empathy, sincerity, and selflessness personified. In fact, I can't actually recall her ever raising her voice at us. You'd still know if she was disappointed with a quiet but ever so loaded, "Oh, Ben." But she never resorted to anger or hysterics. She possessed a post-World War II resourcefulness, waste not, want not. She believed things could always be repurposed or reimagined. She made a lot of our clothes. I can recall regular trips to Spotlight where we would choose from the reams of fabric for her to make her next creation. Some of my fondest childhood memories involve using boxes, egg cartons, toilet rolls, paper and packaging to craft a universe or a creature from the depths of my imagination. She kept these things, set them aside before recycling was even on our radar as a society. This inventiveness that Mum exhibited, it absolutely informed my aesthetic as an actor and a theatre maker. It unleashed in me a creativity that was never determined by budget. She enabled me to make work from nothing, to create complete worlds from whatever was at hand. And that makes for a certain magic that just can't be bought. When I was little, she returned to study as a mature-age student, initially cooking and food prep for a couple of years. I can still see her donning her black and white plaid pants, her chef's top and her hat to attend weeknight classes. She'd come home late, treats in hand, little custard tarts that had fanned glazed strawberries and fruit atop. And we would eat them thinking we were the fanciest kids around. She'd spend her weekends perfecting different cooking techniques, profiteroles, pasta making skills. I can see linguine and tagliatelle draped across the backs of our dining chairs to dry out. She'd make gnocchi from scratch, hand rolling it on a small corrugated wooden paddle, sauces, bechamel from a blonde roux, hollandaise with snap fresh asparagus. She was known for her culinary prowess and would often cater dinner parties or events for family and friends. Later in life, she studied working with older people, grief and loss, and welfare. That was a hair. She was an exemplary student, and all of her peers referred to her as Mother. Upon graduating, she landed her dream job. It was with a company that was then known as House with No Steps. She was to oversee the management of a house that was specialist disability accommodation, a role in which she absolutely flourished. One of the things I've always admired most about Mum is that she is a perpetual student. Not always in the academic sense, but rather a student of the world, embracing all walks of life. If she met someone who had endured something or lived a life different to what she knew, she wanted to hear about it in their words, to educate herself about their existence and experience. A social worker of the world with qualifications from the University of Life, her heart rife with wonder, watching, welcoming. She gives the gift of time. No rush. Just tell me your story at a pace that puts you at ease. I've nowhere to be but here. In addition, she undertook an incredible amount of volunteer work. Respite care through local council, visiting the vulnerable, helping to run Crossroads, a community group for people with disabilities, a maker of possibilities. She was grounding, dependable, an anchor. Collecting kids whose parents were incarcerated. She'd drive them up to Sydney, escort them into prison, wait and facilitate conversation, and maybe have a gentle word on the way home, if needed. Just an easy, open, earthbound angel who naturally gravitates to the person in the room who needs her most. I keep crying and losing my spot. Tessa? She would what? And she would do these things without seeking praise or recognition, but simply because someone had a need and she felt she could fill it. So why not lighten the load for another? And that's my mum. A shining light who loves to laugh and enable people to feel bonded, fused with a strong sense of fellowship, belonging, being stitched into the fabric of something bigger, something that held them, gave them life and love and purpose. This approach to people, it's absolutely something she applied to her own children. My siblings and I could not be more different, but Mum has always been able to meet each of us exactly where we're at. She intuitively knows when to speak or when to sit with us in silence, encouraging each of us without anticipation or assumption. With her, there's no finish line. No preferred point of arrival. Simply permission to exist. I think we rewind about 40 years now, and we move to the boy. The sun warms my back as I play make-believe in the yard. My imagination running rampant, creating worlds where I can be, where I can see a place to belong. A search, seeking connection, point, place, and passion. I'm definitely most alive, most in my skin, most warmed within, when submerged fully in fantasy. Preoccupied with pretend. No need for an end, just a beginning and a middle. A middle. A middle. A constant middle. An eternal exploration. A well of wonder that exists only because of you. You dreamy, warm, wonderful woman. Because of the space you created. That you carved out. Because of the walls you did not build around me, the parameters you did not put in place, you watched on with grace, allowing me to dig, dive, or delve into whatever sparked, spiked, or spurred something in me. You're a born storyteller, you would say. And so I was, weaving, waxing lyrical, approaching the world and life with a sense of quirkiness, curiosity, and awe. Each moment an opportunity to make some art, a play, a painting, a performance, a poem. Always, however, art with heart. Because for as long as I can remember, your heart has always preceded you.
arriving in the room well before you did. Not because it was detached or separate or loose. On the contrary, because it was so immense, so intense and vast, ample and unlimited, infinite, broad and boundless. When I was at drama school, they would say, "It is imperative, it is vital, important and pressing that the actor, the artist, be empathetic." And I was like, I know that. Like I know it, I live it, I've lived it all my life. I've had the best teacher on the subject since day dot, a tiny tot, a small, impressionable human, a blank canvas, watching his mother move through the world, her heart leading the way. She would cry with compassion upon hearing someone's story of struggle. She would reflect and then direct that energy into, well, what can I do to make this person feel valued and cherished, to help them feel seen before feeling seen was even a turn of phrase. And so she discovered her incredible capacity to listen. Listen without feeling the need to comment or share stories of personal comparison. Listen without interrupting. Support without pretending. Speak without hesitation. And share without reward. They're also not my words, but sometimes other people say it better. It's a gift, this ability to truly listen, to be able to center someone and simply allow them to expose parts of themselves that they may have never shown another human. And that's what Mum does, without planning it, without pressure or expectation. She simply creates space for people to be themselves, to express, progress, or confess without judgment. I remember what you said. I remember every word. I remember how the earth stopped turning. We were sitting on the bed. The clock was ticking louder. There's the overwhelming smell of powder in the air. Everything is skewed. Everything is blurred. I remember every word. I remember how we roared, laughed so hard we almost cried, laughed so long we felt the earth stop turning. We were never ever bored, and you made us feel amazing. We were blazing through our lives like comets through the sky. When you are not here, things will feel alright. The world is good, you said. Enjoy its highs, you said. The summer flies, you said. So make a parade of every moment and throw away your hate. Just focus on what's great instead. I'm dying, so there's no time for debate. You said. I remember how you smiled. You were trying not to smile. Then you smiled and the earth stopped turning. All the images are filed, or the images keep flicking, also all of us are slow at picking up our cues. Nothing left to win, nothing more to lose. The world is good, you said. Enjoy its shit, you said. 'Cause this is it, you said. So make a parade of every moment. Now pull up to the curb. The sign "Do Not Disturb's" ahead. The truth is that you've made my life superb. She said. I found a note once. It was years ago now. It was written in Mum's very distinctive cursive handwriting. It was a list of one-liners that had emerged from my mouth as a little one.
Hey, Mum, what's that letter that's one bump after another bump? You know, sometimes when I've got a booger up my nose but no tissue, I just snuffle it back up again.
Mum was dressed for a very fancy dinner.
Gosh, you look pretty, Mum. You look just like Boy George.
Now, jokes about death are never funny unless they're executed properly. Like the guy who went to his boss's funeral, leant over the open casket and said, "Who's thinking outside the box now, Gary?" When I die, I would like to go like my grandfather, peacefully in his sleep, not screaming with terror like the passengers in his car. On a serious note, I will always remember my grandmother's final words to me. "Stop shaking the ladder, you little shit." One day you'll look up at the ceiling above. If you're lucky, you'll be surrounded by the ones that you love. When the lights in your eyes fade, life flashes by. One day we're going to die. One day you'll sleep and you'll never wake again. Heaven, hell, nirvana, nothing, no one knows how it ends. Rest in peace or pieces and won't even know why. One day we're going to die. Read your horoscopes, your palms and tarot cards, but either way your destination ain't very far. You could drown or choke or burn or be hit by a car. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but something will eventually. One day you'll look back at the life that you've led. No future left to fear, you'll have the past to regret. So put your worries behind you and finally realize, one day we're going to, one day you're going to, one day we're going to die. Family life behind closed doors was volatile. My dad was an unwell man. Not that I want to unpack that here and now. Nor do I want the reference to his unwellness to alleviate him of responsibility. But the point is, I would like to concentrate, to focus on, to highlight how Mum responded. She was a gentle lioness. With a strawberry blonde mane. A woman of few words. Shy, some might say. Maybe she was just economical. If Dad was on a tirade or rampage, with ferocious words or fists, my magical mum would become an umbrella. A mumbrella. She was my mumbrella. And I would take shelter in her from that angry rain. She would cocoon and caress, create calm after the storm. Hold me for as long as I needed. She'd focus on the positives, tell me what she thought I was good at. Draw my attention to the colours around me, that they might provide some distraction. Some hope. I actually don't know how she managed to create such warmth in that wilderness, but she did. This lioness lady. Using her own body as armor, attempting to protect myself and my siblings from the barrage and battery. I don't have to sing anymore. Years later, she wrote us all a letter that said, "I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to leave your dad sooner." And I replied at the time, but would like to repeat myself now if I can get the words out. There was never any apology required. We all grew strong together because of what we endured, and we came out the other side with compassion and empathy. And I think that's an exceptional outcome. To emerge from darkness with a little bit of light.
We'll do it all, everything on our own. We don't need anything or anyone. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? I don't quite know how to say how I feel. Those three words are said to my what we're told before we get too old. Show me a garden that's bursting into life. Let's waste time chasing cars around our heads. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? Forget what we're told before we get too old. Show me a garden that's bursting into life. All that I am, all that I ever was, is here in your perfect eyes. They're all I can see. I don't know where, confused about how as well. Just know that these things will never change for us at all. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world?
Performing has always felt spiritual to me. I always feel incredibly connected to heaven, to loved ones who've passed, to a profound sense of honour. Who or what am I honouring with each project I undertake? And one of the things that's always appealed to me about being an artist is the relationship to your inner child, the sense of spontaneous play that's required. And also the need for wisdom well beyond your years, a deep understanding of history, the past, politics, social progression. To be a true creative, it's as though you have to exist as the oldest and youngest version of yourself at the same time. And strangely, I would describe grief in very much the same way, especially when it comes to the loss of a parent. Your child self feels so close to the surface. You're reminded of just how delicate we are. Reminded of old scars and wounds. You feel too young to be dealing with such a loss, like it's happening too soon. You're also confronted with a new chapter, a new identity. How do I define myself now that my parents are gone? Am I still someone's child? Am I ready? Part of you wants to run away, curl up into a ball, bury yourself, until reality tires and hopefully recoils. But on the other hand, part of you feels so old. Your body and soul depleted, fragile, and fatigued. So there's something about this creative offering that feels just right for this moment, for this medium, and for my mum, even though she hates to be the centre of attention. 9 months ago, after 8 long years of IVF and surrogacy, my husband and I welcomed twin boys into the world.
And those babies feel so much a part of me. It's like I acquired 2 extra limbs. Or maybe I just noticed that they'd been there the entire time. I would love for my children to come to know what an exceptional human my mum is. But that's not the hand we've been dealt. So all I can do is pray that I'm able to uphold her legacy, demonstrate the importance of kindness and generosity, embody a gentle, agile and graceful approach to life and humankind. Memento mori is a phrase that's been rolling around my mind lately. The literal translation from the Latin is, remember, you must die. This concept was embedded in Stoicism and urged people to face their mortality, to reflect on it often, to use the fact that life is not infinite as impetus to live fully. Live with mindfulness and unapologetic authenticity. This resonates for me because I think if we can remove the element of fear from death, things suddenly become essentialized. Priorities shift. We discover agency in choosing where and how we allocate energy. So by taking back the power, we can, in effect, kill death. I opened my eyes to bathe in the blue. As my breath and heart aligned, I dared not utter a single word nor stimulate my mind. A room between the sun and moon where music does not cease. Take me now, my eyes did plead, for life has run its lease. She answered clear, her voice a song that calmed my aching heart. A soothing, humming, warming sound affirmed the final part. I drew a breath, not quite the last, told pride he was no guest. I heard the heavens open wide when life was laid to rest. I have a reservation to where I'm not so sure, and yet no hesitation as skyward bound I soar. My hands have carried many, my spirit overspilled. There is no fear as now I face a death that has been killed. The tricky thing now is to draw this to a close, to find an ending. Something I don't want to do because the end means I'm one step closer to having to say goodbye. So, instead of offering a distinct or definitive conclusion, I've just asked them to dim the lights over the next 30 seconds. And my wish is that this is the way we all go. Just gently fading from one realm and moving into the next. Just an ellipsis, a comma, a quiet exhalation. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I'm not there. I did not die.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Stand by.
I feel ready to do the show now. I do have a number of thank yous to dish out. First is Meryl Jackson Q, who Meryl was my first singing teacher and a family friend for many, 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 many years. So thank you to Meryl.
I've always been.
I have. I also need to thank my two producers, Susie and Tessa, who were wonderful and supportive. I need to thank Wollongong for their incredible support. Yeah, go for it, clap. I need to thank my husband for allowing me to go and practice in the garage once the twins were asleep. I need to thank the film crew here who did the videography. There's some flyers on your table, so if you ever need videography, hit them up. And last but not least, the true recipient of the applause is my mum. Thank you all so much for coming. I know many people have travelled from far and wide. There are people who I haven't seen for years, so it's really special to share this room with you all. Thank you.
I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me.